Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Community Services Commission meeting. And I'd like to have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Clark. Bob Kopp.
Present.
Chrissy Lamb-Julian.
Here.
Laurel Martin.
Present.
Debbie Ojeda.
I'm here.
And Nicholas Teller is absent today. We also have staff present. We have Director Rogers, Fiona Epps, and I am Maria Picasso, the Recreation Manager.
Thank you. Now I'd like to ask for approval of minutes for two meetings, September 28th, 2022, and January 25th, 2023. Does anyone here, could I request an approval of the minutes, please?
I approve the minutes.
Could I have a second?
I second.
Any opposed? Any questions? Thank you. The next item on the agenda is citizens to be heard or public comments. Citizens may speak under any item not listed on the agenda. The time limit is 3 minutes and is subject to modification by the chair. Individuals may not share or offer time to another speaker. Pursuant to provisions of the Brown Act, no action may be taken on a matter unless it is listed on the agenda or unless certain emergency or special circumstances exist. The commissioners may direct staff to investigate and or schedule certain matters for consideration at a future meeting. Please see the cover sheet for instructions on how to submit public comments. Do we have any people waiting to submit public comments?
There are no public comments at this time.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is old business. The first is 2023 Community Services Commission event schedule.
Okay, so you all have a copy of the events for this year. So it includes the coastal cleanup event.
Yes.
It includes dumpster day, and we also have we have Community Service Day, and everything has a date on there with the exception of Community Service Day, because that date has to be decided by the commissioners today. So if we can talk, I know last year we hosted the event on a Saturday in June. I think it was like the third Saturday. It was a Father's Day weekend. Our attendance was not as high as in previous years. So I don't know if the commission, there's some events going on in April, if the commission wanted to go back to the old date. Previously, the commission hosted Community Service Day on the third Saturday of May. So if the commission would like to return to that date or had another date in mind that you all wanted to discuss.
Could I ask for input from commissioners, please?
Yeah, I think going back to May would be better because we get more response from the high school, from that group that comes down and helps us every year. The Interact Club, they've always been a big help. And if we go into June again, they'll be out of school, so we won't be able to, invite them down.
Yeah, I think the May, date in May would be the best, just not the weekend of Mother's Day. So what would it be, the third week in May?
That would.
Are we looking at that?
It's
Because we don't want to go to Memorial Weekend either.
so that would be the 20th.
The 20th, the third week on a
20th
Saturday.
Is a Saturday.
Yes, that's correct. It is the third Saturday would be May 20th.
Sounds good to me.
I'm just wondering if we have been able to double check with West Contra Costa, the school schedule, to kind of maybe sync it up so that way we can get more engagement with the schools here in town, and then reach out to St. Joseph as well, just to kind of see if they have any breaks, so we can kind of collaborate on that date. I don't know if we've looked into that yet.
I don't think we have not reviewed the calendar from the local schools. It's something that we could look into. I know we've stayed away from like the weekends in June. They usually have, it's graduation time, so we've stayed away from those dates. I can't remember if there's anything on their schedule. I don't know if the commissioners have ever experienced anything with it being an event going on in May, something we can look further into.
I have the schedule home. I can send it to you of just what their schedules are for West Contra Costa that's been posted.
Do you have it with you?
I do not have it with me.
I think we could tentatively set that date. And the one advantage is if students are in school session, they're always happy to come and get community service hours, whether they apply it this year or the next calendar year, school calendar year. So I think that we should, I move that we tentatively set the 20th unless we find there's a big conflict in the community.
Well, I second that.
Any comments from?
Okay, so I will make a note. We'll double check. We'll leave it for May 20th, 2023. And I will report if there's any issues, and we'll report back.
Good.
Thanks, Christy.
The next item is Sister Cities.
You have a hand raised to speak from the public.
Okay, if caller ending in 5748 can please unmute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Hello?
you.
Yes, not sure if this is one of the agendized items or not, but I believe I just had inadvertently missed the calling cutoff time for a few minutes ago.
Could you please state your name, sir?
My name is Anthony, and I'm a longtime senior citizen and resident of Pinole of over 40 years. Just a housekeeping item number one of three is that they didn't post, and you're not posting or reading all the ID numbers, the website access number like they normally do off and on, that they should do more regularly at the city council meetings and the planning commission meetings, so the public can have easy access under the Brown Act to call in, know what the web ID passcode is, the 600 or 800 number to phone in for those people that want to phone in, and it's an administrative thing, and somebody just has to make it a systematic protocol, whether it's Mr. Rogers or Mr. Schnell or Maria or somebody, to have it posted before, during the meeting, the agenda items, etc., so the public can have full, easy access to participating in comments throughout the meeting. That being said, moving forward, and it's still not up on the screen now as we speak, but the other thing I wanted to mention, can something be done at the senior center like in the front door foyer area, to post the current events, the bulletin board calendar schedule, and so on. You know, they don't have to make a nice bulletin board, make a formal thing out of it, but just something, you know, under plastic or under cover there in the front door foyer area of the senior center, like they do at every other senior center, whether it's Hercules, Oakland, Corte Madera, Marin County, Berkeley, El Cerrito, but not Pinole. You know, the public needs to, when they walk by or come in and out of the building, or when they go there and it's closed, they have to know the hours, what's going on, and so on. Not everybody has access to the calendar or can access getting inside the senior center. And that's not, you know, asking for too much, I don't think, to post a weekly or a monthly calendar of events out on the foyer way near the front door, outside of the front door, where people can see it and read it and access it, if not have a little handouts that they can take with them. And then the other thing, there's a confusion on the food bank program going on, and I think somebody has to step to the plate and make it more clear, you know, with the city program, the senior center program, and or the county program. There's all these different guidelines and protocols and rules with regard to the age and their residence and what have you, and that has to be spelled out more clearly on Pinole TV and or infomercial of sorts, because the patchwork thing doesn't seem to be working for most people, as I've experienced and talking to fellow members of the senior community and so on. And I'll reserve comment later for issues around the dog park with the broken bathrooms, locks, and doors at the Pinole dog park.
Excuse me, Anthony, but you're covering.
Can help
Anthony, I'd like you to finish just for a moment, please. You've covered over 3 minutes, and you're covering many issues. We understand that one of the things you're discussing is you want better access for the public, for the knowledge of public agenda items. Also, when you're referring to the food program for the senior center, that there are handouts at the senior center with all the information that you need. And I'm going to defer to Maria or Jeremy on this, please.
Yeah, so there are two different programs at the senior center. There is the drive-through produce distribution that happens on the second Monday, and that one is just open to anybody. And we're starting a new program, and it's all in partnership with the Contra Costa and Solano Food Bank. Both programs are in partnership with them, and that program is a new program that is going to start on February 28th, and that one is a little bit more detailed. It does require an application to be completed by the participants, meaning the guidelines that the food bank has provided. So everything is detailed in the information, and anybody who is interested can also stop by the senior center and meet with our coordinator, and if they have any questions, she'd be happy to answer those. And the information is also available on the senior center's website, but there's paper copies available at front desk, and there's flyers around the center.
And can I ask how you might address Anthony's question about having improved access of agenda items?
The agenda is posted with the web ID, how to call in. I'm not sure what else he was referring to, but all agendas for all of the meetings are posted on the city website. And he also had a comment regarding the senior center schedule. I know we do have a board with the hours of operation on the front. So I will check, and we have schedules inside, but I will check with our coordinator, see if there's any space to add an additional schedule of events to the front door.
So Anthony, thank you for your concern about community items, and you have now information that you can follow through on that. Thank you. Okay, let's move on to sister cities, please.
Good evening, Commissioners. As you know, my name is Jeremy Rogers. I'm your Community Services Director. And at last month's meeting, I presented about an option to bring a sister city to the city of Pinole. And so as I do that, I want to develop a policy, a sister city policy. And so I want to bring that to this group to help me plan that policy. So I'm going to ask you guys to give me recommendations on what you would like to see in a sister city policy. An example of that would be the city of choice would need to be a city close to our size, so between that 15 to 20,000 range would be just one example of what you'd want to see in that policy. So I'll open up the floor to you guys, and I will take tons of notes and tell me what you guys think.
Do you have a list of cities that, a partial list that we could look at?
So we're not picking a city, we are just picking what our parameters are.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yes.
I was thinking that's a big task.
Well, I would like to say that I think with our committee being as small as it is and the things that we do throughout the year, I don't think we have the committee to be able to have time to do a good job with a sister city, and I don't quite know how it would affect us by doing so to start with. So I'm kind of in favor of not getting involved with it.
I think the focus might be on cultural issues. Don't you think, Christy?
I would like to suggest Hercules just because it is close by. They do have a really robust program. A lot of our families here do go to extracurricular activities in Hercules quite often. They also go to West Contra Costa Unified. And example of cultural exchange would be on June 4th. They're actually having a cultural festival, which I think would be great if we could partner up with, especially since we are the 6th most diverse city in California. We could really just lean into that. Bayfront Chamber does a lot of work in Hercules, and we can probably pick up some best practices on how we can better support our small businesses here in Pinole, and just kind of build on that relationship that we already have. And just that motto of it takes a village, to where we have been trying to do some things. And we can learn from Hercules' example of just leaning in and doing some more activities of just what their best practices are, and maybe just partner up with them to go ahead and help out with some of the activities as well, and just grow upon that and then just build up is my suggestion. And then also I was just rewatching the video from last time. We are actually on the Oneida band of the Miwok tribe. I've reached out to the Bureau of Indian Affairs just because I was curious about kind of whose land we're sitting on, and was able to connect with Elizabeth Jackson, the tribal specialist, and she said just reach out, and I could forward that information that I have, so we can go ahead and give some respect and celebrate our neighbors, is my thought.
Thank you.
Most of the ones I've seen on TV with sister city things was usually with somebody, say, in the United States with another sister city in another part of the world. I thought that's what most of them were set up for, that I've seen on TV. Is that true or not?
That is correct, yes.
I know Hercules used to be a sister city.
They have several.
Yeah, certainly with some city in Japan.
The city of San Francisco has 20-some different sister cities that they partner with all over the world. Obviously, that's too robust for us here in Pinole. Let's keep it small and do what we can.
But I think Christie's suggestion was that we could have real-time cooperation with certainly with students and cultural things. And I'm not sure if that's the parameters you want, if we should go further. Or
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy, for everything you're doing.
So the next item on the agenda is community outreach and engagement.
This is just an opportunity for the commissioners to provide any update. This is a reoccurring item that we have on our agenda to discuss any outreach or engagement that's being done by the commissioners in the community.
I have been involved with both St. Joseph's doing programs and teaching the kids how to be volunteers, and also with the high school doing a student speaker contest, which was very well attended this year. So that's been my involvement recently. Are there any other commissioners who would like to?
Okay. All right. So on January 30th, I attended the West Contra Costa Unified School District's Resource Parent Workshop, which is an informational workshop to kind of share the information about their special education department, the resources that are available for the parents, how to advocate for their students, and how we can establish a partnership there. On January 31st, I attended the Pinole's Library Lunar New Year Festival, and they had a phenomenal lion dance team, and it was just amazing. Those kids worked really, really hard, and it was just the sweetest thing. On February 4th, I went to the Community Corner engagement to kind of see what folks were wanting to do with their thoughts and ideas about how to develop that and just engage and just see what people had to say. And then I bopped on over to the high school because we missed the parade, but we were there for the ceremony at the end, which was really nice to see that the students really did get their recognition and how hard they've actually really, really worked, and the team there that supported them. On the February 6th, I was at the West County Management School Lunar New Year Festival with several other folks, with Mayor Devin Murphy, School Board Trustee Jamila Smith-Folds, and Supervisor Joyous, Representative Ms. Rogers, to watch a really, really neat performance. And it blew me away. It took me back from just when growing up in San Jose of just how involved and just beautiful it all is. On the 9th, I attended the Office of Racial Equity and Social Justice Committee via the county, just to see how that development is going, and they're still working on choosing their directors. They're actually going to do 2 directors for that department. And then later on that day, I attended the Collins Town Hall, where I got to sit in on their SSC meeting, which is the school site committee, which is they're just discussing how they're using the funds for the school to support the children. Then they rolled it into the ELAC of just how we can help support the English language learner students. There was a State of the Union from Principal Steen about their construction and just their needs for their students and how we can support them a little bit more through the community. And then Trustee Smith-Folds gave us an update about the school district, and she just, thankfully there has been development because the teachers were going to go on strike as of March 2nd. So last minute they decided, they came to the table, so there will not be a strike. So lots of parents and caregivers are very, very happy about that. And then we got a State of the Union from Mayor Devin Murphy as well. On the 11th, I attended the West Contra Costa Unified School District Special Education Parent Conference, where they had lots of vendors to support caregivers with students with different abilities. Just connected them through the district, through the county, and just resources if they could bring to the city as well to help their families learn a new tool and connect with other families for that support. On the 16th, I had a meeting with Anton Wilson. He's with the Contra Costa Equity Committee, which will be absorbing the Office of Racial Equity and Social Justice, about what that community does and what it's going to look like once they absorb this other committee, and just different resources that they're able to provide for cities and what they're working on with the county to help our community a little bit better, since times are really hard with inflation, rising costs of gas and groceries, and the whole 9 yards. And there was a conversation about the food bank too, about some ideas that they can think to help supplement folks. On the 21st, I was at the East Bay Leadership Council with the Water, Energy, and Environment Task Force, Energy Grid Reliability and Transition to Alternate Energy. I was just curious on how that would come into play with the general plan here with Pinole, and what the county is doing on a broader scale of just how are we going to shift that and meet the deadline, I think, of 2025, 2030. And then I was on the council, I was invited to the Council of Elders and was able to listen to a wonderful workshop by Kareem Weaver and Nzinga Dungus on how we can support students of color so they are better prepared after high school, and just kind of feed their passions of just learning their identity and celebrating their culture. And then I communicated briefly with Miss Fiona about Station 74 and the ribbon cutting for that, and also communicated with Miss Fiona about Earth Day and reached out to all the schools. Shannon and many of the schools are still working on it. Since when I reached out, the teachers haven't decided if they were going to go on strike yet, so everything was on hold. But St. Joseph does have a green team that is super shiny new, and they are very, very excited to work with Pinole on how to be a greener community. And I'm complete.
Thank you. You've been very busy. I've been busy enough. Okay. Any comments from other commissioners?
Just amazing.
The next agenda item is new business. And we just set a date tentatively for 2023 Community Service Day. Even, in my opinion, even if there is one school having an event or something, we can't let that, you can never get a date to suit every single person, so long as we don't interfere or come across, particularly graduations, that's the big thing. So by moving it, Maria, I like your suggestion of moving it back to May instead of June. So anyway.
Yeah, I think May 20th is going to work out. I think that's a good date.
Were there particular things you wanted us to discuss about Community Service Day?
No, I think for next month, since we have a date, I think coming next month will be March. We'll be almost 2 months away from the event. Okay. So just coming back with maybe a list of any projects, and then we'll have to work with the Public Works Department to see if they have any projects in mind. So I think the next meeting will just be more of a brainstorming of what the day will look like for Community Service Day.
And obviously, we do an outreach to schools to see if we can encourage school children to come. Now, something that's everyone's thrilled about, Station 74. I live right by it, so I'm close. I'm happy. So does Bob. Station 74.
Yes, so the city will be hosting an event on March 4th, and I'll have Fiona speak a little bit more on that, but we're also looking to see if any of the commissioners were available on that day to help volunteer during the event. So I'll have Fiona speak on the event, and then we'll go back to see if anybody's available to volunteer that day.
Thank you, Maria. My name is Fiona. I'm the assistant to the city manager here at City of Pinole. I am new to the team as of October of last year, and I'm happy to be here. So I've been working with Confire and Chris Winecoop at our fire department to plan our the reactivation and ribbon cutting ceremony that will take place, as Maria mentioned, Saturday, March 4th at 11 o'clock. That will be at Station 74 at 3700 Pinole Valley Road. And it will be a event that is festive and a celebration of the new contract that started officially January 1st, but what March 1st marks the actual go-live and implementation of Confire really taking over the operations of the fire department. And so a big part of that is the Fire Station 74, which will reopen. It has been dormant for about 10 years. And it will be reopened, and with that will come, with it being located kind of in a high fire hazard zone, it's in a good location to provide expanded wildfire protection services. With the new Confire contract, they'll have they're expecting to have shortened response times and greater life-saving capabilities and emergency medical services that they'll be able to provide with expanded teams and training and resources, tools, apparatus. Water rescue is included in that as well. So it's really a great thing for this community and beyond. But it will, in particular, have a great impact on Pinole residents being able to have an additional fire station open. And so the event will really be to celebrate Confire and the city of Pinole, who have worked for years in the creation and execution of this contract, and be able to share this exciting occasion with the community. There will be speeches by our supervisor, John Joya, our mayor, Devin Murphy, and others. There will be refreshments served there. There will be a whole fleet of apparatus that will be there where people can come and see. It'll be a great event for kids to come and view all of the really cool fire engines and awesome things that they'll have on display there. And then people will be able to tour the newly renovated fire station. So that will be an exciting thing where people can kind of see where where the firefighters' quarters are, and see the control room there, and it'll just be a really fun event. So that'll be from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday, March 4th.
Thank you, Fiona. I know that we've all been anxious for some years now to have it reopened, and it wasn't plausible financially. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who was involved in struggling and striving and looking for options to reopen.
What kind of activities are you going to have there? Any kind of activities, or what kind of refreshments are you planning?
Well, there will be a ceremony that will take place. It will be a ribbon cutting ceremony, and there will be speeches. There will be light refreshments served. There will be tabling by Confire so that they can talk about their different services that they'll be offering and answer more questions. I believe they might also have a recruitment table. That's, they talked about that, but I don't know if they're able to get that exactly together, so that might be there. And the Station 74 tour, of course, it's an open house, so people can just kind of go in and take a look and look at the grounds. They've got a couple of resident peacocks there, so I'm sure that'll be noticed. And the engines and the apparatus that they'll have there. They're going to have the big, I don't remember what it's called. It is a bulldozer that is used for fighting wildfires. I think they just call it the dozer is the nickname for the apparatus. But, in addition to the typical fire engines that we see parked in front of our Station 73, there'll be some, really kind of cool engines and apparatus out there for people to see. So.
I would like to talk to you after the meeting if you have time.
Oh, sure. I'll be there. I'll be there. And there was, I do also want to let you know that there will be opening day for Little League happening that morning at 9 a.m. And so there'll be some traffic, safety that will be happening in that area as well, because we expect to have a lot of children present and going, possibly from Little League and over to Station 74 too. So I'll be there, and I'll be happy to talk to you after the event or during the event as well.
After the meeting tonight.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Yes. And one thing I forgot to mention is, and tagging on what Maria had mentioned, is that we are looking for maybe a couple of volunteers, if you're available that day, to help serve refreshments at the refreshment table. That would be just pouring drinks and, welcoming people who are coming in to, welcoming people from the community who are there. So if you're interested, you can let me know.
I'm excited. I'm excited about the station opening back up. I think first responders, it's the most important thing. It's our first line of defense for any small city, large city, community, and so I'm really grateful that they've figured out a way to make this happen, and I plan to be there and help with photography and wherever else I can help. And thank you so much, and I think the peacocks, those are great mascots. That's wonderful.
Well, as a member of the 100 Club in Contra Costa County, I don't know how many people are familiar with the 100 Club. What the 100 Club does in Contra Costa County, they raise money for, like, downed officers. Let's say an officer in Pinole gets killed in the line of duty. The next day, within 24 hours, they will have a check to his wife, if it happens to be a fellow officer, will be given to his wife within 24 hours to help her with funeral costs and all of this. And I'm working with them. In fact, I'm having a meeting Friday with the president of the 100 Club. I'm a member. And we're going to try to put on an event, probably here in Pinole, to raise money for the 100 Club. It includes every fireman, every police officer that works in Contra Costa County is able to, if something happens to them, their family gets this money. So we want to raise money for that event, and we want to see if we can set it up here in Pinole. I put on these kind of things at the park before, and I'll work out those arrangements with Maria and Jeremy as far as about getting the park and the teen center. We're planning on doing it probably in August sometime after the car show, because I'm really involved with the car show, and we can talk about that also. But that's an event we want to put on for our first responders, so we can help the one that's left if somebody happens to lose their life in the line of duty here. It includes every police station, police department in Contra Costa County, and then Con Fire, and then like Rodeo Hercules. That's part of the county, even though it's not Con Fire. And Richmond and that, it includes those personnel also. So that's something that I'm working on with them right now.
Bob, are you able to be there that day?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Dedication? Yeah. So Bob will be there, so he'll check with you, Fiona, after the meeting.
Sounds great.
I'll be out of town.
I can be there as well. My ask is, I know that there's already the flyer that you sent me for the Fire Station 74. Is there a way to, if anything, just highlight it, just trim it down, so then that way we can hand it out maybe at to the school, so that it's just easier to digest that this is a family event, that there's going to be all these trucks and these vehicles and there's tours and all this information of just meet Con Fire. I don't know, just more of a smaller, maybe like a half sheet flyer that we would be able to give out to the different things that we're going to be attending to hand out.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, and I think that would be doable. I think we'll leave the existing flyer as it is, and maybe make a separate flyer that's more aimed towards, to the schools and to the families who might want to attend the event. Without all of the, there's a lot of information in there about the contract and such. So I think that would be doable. I can create that for you.
It seems that parking might be an issue. The bigger crowd you have parking.
Yes.
Now, if you can park at the school, perhaps.
Yes, so Principal Greg Whaling will be letting us open the gates that is directly across from Fire Station 74. Our Public Works Department is going to put a ramp in so that people can just park there and try to keep it totally separate from the opening day with Little League.
And the whole playground area.
Yes, like that little
Super.
playground area with the garden, and then people will be able to walk across the street on the opposite side. And we're going to have, the fire trucks are going to have their lights on, and we're planning to have one of our reader boards there, letting drivers know that there's an event going on and to slow down, so that we can, keep it as safe as possible. Safety is the first priority for that event.
Thank you, Fiona.
You're very welcome.
It's exciting.
What time did you want us to be there to kind of check in and help out?
The event starts at, maybe about 10:45 would be okay. I'm going to be there at 9:45 to start setting up the table and everything. So if you can just show up, or even at between 10:45 and 11 would be fine. Yeah. Thank you for volunteering.
So the last item we have on the agenda tonight is Earth Day.
Yes, and I'm going to hand it over to Fiona again to talk about our Earth Day event.
Yes, so Earth Day is a multi-department effort. I've been working with Jeremy and Maria, as well as Kapil Amin, who is our sustainability fellow, who has done a lot of work for the Climate Action and Adaptation Plan. And what we're planning to celebrate Earth Day throughout the month of April this year. And the reason for that is to give the community a variety of activities that they can choose from, and maybe if they can't attend the main event, they can go to other workshops or events around the community. And the main event is going to be the Pinole Earth Walk. That will take place on Earth Day itself, which is Saturday, April 22nd, at 9 o'clock. The Earth Walk path will begin and end in Fernandez Park and follow a loop around, which circles down by the bay around the water control treatment plant, and down the Bay Trail towards Hercules, and then loop back around coming up the Pinole Creek on that Bay Trail that follows up back to Fernandez Park. And it's going to be about just a little over 3 miles is the path. And so that will be ending with a community gathering. We'll have some eco-friendly snacks and refreshments. We are asking that people register for the walk ahead of time so that we can plan for snacks and refreshments. We're offering for the first 50 registrants that they will win a reusable water bag. So we're trying to encourage a lot of participation. I've talked with Christy about getting the word out to the schools and getting the schools involved. And we are partnering with the community organizations and local groups to participate and take part in different, not just the Earth Walk itself, but in other activities throughout the month. So that is the walk. We will also, after the walk, we're also thinking of having some of our tabling by local organizations who can talk about what, their purpose, what they do, and maybe anybody who's interested might want to join those organizations as well. And those would be local Pinole groups. And we will also be we're partnering with the Friends of the Pinole Creek to put on a community cleanup event that will take place on April 15th. I think the time is still to be determined, but I believe it's 10 a.m., so it will be in the morning, and that will be at Fernandez Park, is the tentative place that we're looking at. But we might change the place. I will let Ann Moriarty take the lead on that from the Friends of the Pinole Creek. We're planning to have some workshops that align with the 4 sectors of the Climate Action and Adaptation Plan, which are, and if you don't know already, the 4 sectors are water, waste reduction, energy, and transportation. A couple of the things that we've been looking at would be a virtual workshop about recycling. MCE has offered to do a virtual workshop as well in the energy sector. We are looking at a couple of local nurseries who would have offered to do a native plant workshop. So we're excited about that. I would love to hear your ideas about where that could take place, if it would be best to do it on, a weekend or an evening or weekday or what, what else do we have? Am I missing anything, Jeremy?
No, I think you covered it. The walk is the big piece for us, and will involve the most community engagement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where does the walk start from?
It would start in Fernandez Park.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So we'd have everybody meet over there at 9 a.m. and we'd all start walking together. And the purpose of the walk is to really take a pledge to protect the planet. So when you register for the event, which registration is online on our website, and the webpage is still under construction, but it would be, as soon as you hit submit, you're taking a pledge to protect the planet. And we're walking as a community together to take action towards doing that.
It sounds great.
Yeah.
I think you'll get a good involvement.
Yeah, I hope so. Diane Springer helped us scope out the walking path from the Walk and Talk group,
Right.
so that was really fun, and I think we found a good path, and it's should be accessible to everybody. It's paved, strollers can come, wheels, dogs, your furry friends, and it should be a really fun community event. We're excited about it.
I will say that Fiona and Diane and myself, we actually physically walked the path.
Yeah.
It can be done.
Sure.
And I survived, so.
One promotion you might do, is just a thought, since we do it at most of the events we have, is perhaps for the cleanup, you might be able to give any school-age children some community service hours or a little badge or something.
Mm-hmm. That's a great idea. Yes, I was in contact with Earth Team at Pinole Valley High School, and I just learned about St. Joseph's Green Team. So I think that's a great idea. We really want to get the kids involved. We want to get the community involved, and really try to emphasize the importance of taking care of our neighborhoods, and let people meet their neighbors, and really take action towards protecting our planet. So. And we'll have a website, I briefly mentioned earlier, but I'm building a web page where we'll house all of the information of all of the events and activities that are happening for Earth Day.
Thank you.
I just think that is fantastic. Everything you guys are putting together for the month of April, and especially that walk, that's really amazing. Good job, good work.
On the cleanup, I think,
Yeah.
Well, you picked the right person to know the streets in Pinole. Diane has been, there's not a street in Pinole that Diane hasn't walked multiple times. I've known her for like 30 years, and I don't think anybody can outwalk her.
No. Yeah, we had trouble keeping up with her.
Sure.
I have a suggestion just for the workshops. Maybe Elahorse has a really robust school garden there, and it's in a big open spot, easy accessible, that we could do a workshop there. And then since Collins is just a really solid focal point in town, and then they have those cute little sunflowers, that would be a really easy to get and house a lot of people for a workshop there. What about the wildflower seed bombs? will we be able to do those?
Yes, so that would be I forgot to mention, I'm sorry, there's a lot of moving pieces in the planning, but that would take place, we're thinking, after the event. Somebody from after the main event, which would be the walk. Someone from Earth Team had the idea of giving kids a scavenger hunt form where they could, while they're on their walk, have something to do, or they can, find a flowering plant or a type of bird or a bug or a ladybug or something. And then when they come back, we'll have some kids' activities for the kids. The Pinole Garden Club would like to get involved. They talked about doing a table after the walk where they could, possibly have the kids plant some seeds or things are still, nothing is set in stone yet. We're still in the planning phase of Earth Day, but we'll definitely have some activities for the kids, and the seed bombs was a great idea, and I would love to have that there.
Any further comments? It's very exciting. Lots of events coming up. Anything, Maria?
No, we do have a public comment.
Okay.
If caller ending in 5748 can unmute.
Hello. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, is this
Hello?
Anthony?
Yes.
Okay, you're on, Anthony. Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. This is related to Station 74. Somehow technical issues couldn't get through, and the Earth Day programs. Just as a word of thought regarding the history of the peacocks, I think something can be mentioned that the longtime resident of Pinole, the Hearn family, had the adjoining property next to Station 74. And maybe they should give a brief history on how and what happened to Station 74 before it got built out by mistake with regard to the legalities. It's on, basically it was on, I heard it was on Indian land, and because somebody wanted to put a cell tower on the Station 74 property, with one of the big cell network companies. There was a big lawsuit with one of the past mayors who signed off on that, and that's what put the kibosh on the reopening or moving forward on Station 74 for quite a few years. And I think Mr. Kopp and previous mayor Murray knows about what happened there. But back to the peacocks. They're owned by the Hearn family, so they just they make visiting calls in adjoining areas wherever they can find shade, worms, and I guess some snacks. But at one time, the Hearn family lady had 22 or 23 peacocks on her property, and someone wanted to go and knock on her door one day and said, "Can I have or buy one or two of the peacocks?" And she claimed that they're not hers to sell. But it's kind of a sad story because now they've dwindled down to only less than half a dozen peacocks. And I heard that the new owner of that property went out and bought an albino peacock, which I haven't seen yet around there. But the peacocks perch on the trees and so on. And getting back to the parking situation on the opening, I don't know why they couldn't use the soccer field parking lot. It's a lot safer. It adjoins on the same side of the street as the Station 74 sidewalk building. So I wouldn't want to open up the schoolyard across that busy intersection there across from the fire station to put people's life at stake, because people speed around there going like 50, 60 miles an hour all times a day on that blind curve. So I wouldn't open up that school gate, but I would have directional signs to open up the schoolyard next door. And speaking of which, what happened to all the trees there that got knocked down in the schoolyard across the street? and they haven't cleaned them all up. There are like over a dozen trees that got knocked down, and are they going to be cleaning them up and or replaced
Anthony,
for good
I'm sorry,
as well as open-
Anthony, I appreciate your enthusiasm and your input, but you have been talking for 3 minutes. There is a plan. I know for sure there is a plan for the trees because I was contacted by the principal at Alhorst. They're going to replace those trees, but this also has to go through the school district. And I'm sure, thank you for your ideas about any danger with on the street, people crossing. I'm quite sure that there'll be some monitoring of people crossing the street by the city.
Yes, I can answer that question or the issue in regards to the parking and safety situation. The parking lot that is next to the Pinole Valley Park soccer field will be open, and it's, people can park there if they'd like to. However, there's not a continuous sidewalk from that parking lot that goes across the bridge directly to Station 74. People would still have to cross the street on Pinole Valley Road and then come on the sidewalk over there and then cross again. So we saw that the parking lot across the street would be more ideal. And we have one of our firefighters, he's been working with the Pinole Valley Police Department to handle the traffic control and safety situation there, as they are experts in that. And I believe that one of their plans is to have the reader board truck parked prior to that curve that if you're at Fire Station 74, there's a curve that comes through, and the last thing we would like to have is have people crossing the street through. There's 2 openings in the parking lot across the street, and we're going to have one that's closer to the curve be for cars to go in and out, and then the other opening that's farther away from the curve, that's directly across from Fire Station 74, that's going to be for pedestrians to walk across, to give people more time to slow down when they're coming around that curve. And hopefully people will see the cones and the lights and the reader board, and they should be alerted to slow down. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. Any more further comments before we close? Thank you, everyone, for being here and explaining things to us. Really appreciate it. So with that, I would like to adjourn to the next meeting, which will be March 22nd of 2023. Thank you.
Thank you, Laurel.